Guys, so going on with our book, we are going to page 25 today, okay? Let's repeat the words. Old-fashioned, antique, out of date, obsolete, to crumble, eventually, fine, finest, a class, to be privileged, a crown, a typewriter, a benefit, hierarchy, an aristocracy, a diplomat, a throne, armor, a knight, an ambassador, a privilege, honor. Okay guys, old-fashioned is something that is not in fashion anymore. Okay, for example, clothing from the decades of 80s, from the 80s or from the 90s, they are old-fashioned. They are not in fashion anymore. Sorry. Antique is something that is old, but well preserved. Antiques normally cost a lot of money, okay? We have a similar name in Portuguese for it. Antiques are normally like expensive furniture or a china vase, okay? They are considered antiques. Out of date, guys, is almost the same as old-fashioned when we are talking about clothes, okay? But out of date can also refer, for example, to food that, you know, when they put the expiry date on the product. So you better eat this product before a certain date. Okay, so out of date is that. When that date passes, the product becomes out of date, not good for consumption, okay? Obsolete, just like Portuguese. To crumble, guys, is to break something in very small pieces, okay? To crumble is also what we do, for example, to bread. To make, for example, meat, okay, we do it with bread crumble. We make the bread in very small pieces, okay, almost like a flour, and we put it around a piece of meat or chicken, okay, or some people do crumble to put on top of pies, okay. Eventually means at the end or finally, okay? At the end or finally. Fine can be, for example, when I ask, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Okay, I'm okay. Can be that. But fine can also mean something classy, something elegant, okay? And finest is the superlative form, okay? And fine, guys, can also mean something very delicate. For example, silk. It's a type of fabric. It's a very delicate and very fine type of fabric. Okay? A class. A class can be this, where I am. Okay, a room for giving classes. But a class here, guys, we are talking about upper and lower classes. Okay? Every society is divided between rich people and poor people, upper class, lower classes, okay? To be privileged, to have some kind of privilege. Privilege, guys, is just like Portuguese, okay? Something that you don't have the right to, but you still have it and other people don't, so this is a privilege, okay? A crown is a piece of jewelry that the queen wears on her head, okay? A crown. A typewriter is a machine that we used to write things before the computer existed, okay? It's a typewriter. They had the letters on it and we pushed the buttons and a small arm came up and printed the letter on the paper, okay? It's a note machine. I don't know if you have all seen it before. A benefit is very similar to Portuguese. A benefit, guys, is when you get something extra. For example, when you have a friend, okay, and it's a very good. No, I can't do that. Give this example because it means a lot. For example, when we say friends with benefits, they are friends that that sometimes kiss each other. You know, this is friends with benefits. But it's not exactly that. A benefit is like when you here in Brazil, when we work for a company, we have some benefits. Okay, we have that FGTS stuff. It's some money that goes to the bank. Another benefit is transportation. Okay, this is a benefit. Hierarchy is very similar to Portuguese and is the order that we have of people who tell other people what to do. Okay? So, for example, the director is in the top, not the director, but in a company, the president is the top in hierarchy. Okay? And then comes the director, and then the managers, and then the rest of the employees. Okay, we also have this, sorry, in the army. Okay, for example, the general is the top position, but the private is the lowest position. So they have to obey this. The private has to obey the general, he has to obey the major, okay, and other positions that we have in the army. And aristocracy is just like Portuguese, okay? It's like the nobility in a society is the aristocracy. Not necessarily, they are not necessarily noble, okay? But they have a lot of money, and because of that, they normally have some power. A diplomat is just like Portuguese. It's a person that works in other countries, representing their country, okay? A throne is a big chair where the queen and the king sit, okay? Armor is the protection that soldiers wore in the past, okay? They wore clothes made of metal, so they protected mainly this part of their body, their chest and their stomachs, okay? And some armor they have the protection to the arms, to the legs, okay? Armor, guys, actually doesn't have a plural, okay? Because it's made of many parts. So the part of the trunk, the part of the arms, the part that protects the back, okay? So it has no plural. A knight is the name we give to the soldiers that ride horses, okay? It was more common in the past, not so common today, but a knight is a soldier that ride a horse. An ambassador is the person that represents one country in another country, okay? An ambassador is a diplomat, okay? But a diplomat is not necessarily the ambassador, okay? The ambassador is the top position. Privilege is just like Portuguese, and honor too. Okay, similar to Portuguese, okay? Honor is a feeling that normally soldiers have after they participate in a war. They have honor of that. Or honor is something that we feel towards our children when they are successful. Okay? So, we have an idiom here. A knight in a shining armor. Okay? Someone who rescues you from a difficult or dangerous situation. Okay? It's not necessarily a man rescuing a woman from a dragon. It's not that. Okay? But someone who helps you in a difficult situation, okay? Let's repeat. Some people think the television is an old-fashioned piece of technology and that it will soon be obsolete. The castle was built in 1567 and it was thought of one of the finest castles then, but nowadays it is crumbling. What antiques did you find in Paris at the market? To be a member of the aristocracy means you are privileged and could have some special benefits. Before the computer was invented, the typewriter was a common item in offices around the world. The fairy tale had a handsome knight in armor who saved the princess from the monster. Thrones are commonly found in palaces together with a king or queen using a crown. The hierarchy in the large company was clear and she needed to respect the system. Let's practice. Guys, don't forget to pause the video to answer the questions yourselves, okay? Okay, what will you eventually use your English skills for? I will eventually use my English skills to travel abroad. Are ambassadors privileged people? What privileges do you think they have? Yes, ambassadors are privileged people. I think the privileges they have are free housing, staff, a car and driver, a retirement plan, and the opportunity to access the expensive culture and events in the country. Do some out-of-date clothes sometimes become fashionable again? Yes, some out-of-date clothes sometimes become fashionable again. What do you think is the finest restaurant in your city? The finest restaurant in my city is, I don't know, maybe Ludwig? How much does Queen Elizabeth II's crown weigh? Queen Elizabeth II's crown weighs 3.3 kilos and is valued at over 400 million British pounds. What type of animals have a strong social hierarchy in hierarchy system? Most types of monkeys have a strong social hierarchy system. What will you have eventually achieved by the end of this year? I will have eventually achieved being alive by the end of this year. Why was the knight honored? The knight was honored because he was brave in the battle. Is there a clear class system in your country? Yes, there is a clear class system in my country. Are there any knights nowadays? Yes, there are knights nowadays. They are men given a position of honor by a British king or queen because of their special achievements, and who have the right to be called Sir. An example is the member of the band The Beatles, Sir Paul McCartney. Are some typewriters considered antiques? Yes, some typewriters are considered antiques. Why did knights use armor? Knights used armor to protect themselves from an attack. What are the benefits of studying English in the dynamic method? The benefits of studying English with the dynamic method are that it is faster than normal and that you practice a lot of speaking. If a government starts to fail, can we say that it's crumbling? Yes, if a government starts to fail, we can say that it's crumbling. What types of household items do you think will be obsolete in the next 20 years? I think that the TV will be obsolete in the next 20 years. Did many countries in Europe have a system of aristocracy in the past? Yes, many countries had a system of aristocracy in Europe in the past. What types of qualifications and characteristics do you think a diplomat needs? The types of qualifications and characteristics I think a diplomat needs are to be honest and to speak different languages and to be able to talk to people. The teenagers commonly think that their parents are old-fashioned. Yes, teenagers commonly think that their parents are old-fashioned. Who was the party in honor of? The party was in honor of the newly elected president. Is it important that people from all classes in society have access to a good education? Yes, it is important that people from all classes in society have access to good education. If the teacher did not explain the new content well, could students have difficulty understanding the lesson and eventually lose their concentration? Yes, if the teacher didn't explain the new content well, students could have difficulty understanding the lesson and eventually lose their concentration. What do some women look for? Some women look for their knight in shining armor when the person who will really save them is actually themselves. What did most knights fight for? Most knights fought for the honor of their country. Okay guys, I will also send dictation number 1, okay, in a separate video, so it in a separate video, because it makes it a little bit easier for you, okay? See you then, bye-bye.